So,
Ken, are you the head of your wife?
Sometimes.
Sometimes? And what do you mean by that when you say sometimes?
There are situations in parenting, as in life, that require leadership, and I can point to cases where Anne Marie has led me and led the family, and I can
So
point
she
to...
is your head at times?
At times, sure,
Really?
sure. It's
what is a man?
yeah, I haven't thought a lot about it. I have lived with a man for almost 20 years, and I could tell you lots about this particular man. I know he's a source of strength to me, but I know he's also a source of tenderness to me. He is someone who's not afraid to kill spiders, but I tend to trap them and set them free.
Is he the head of you?
No.
He's not the head of you?
Absolutely.
Are you a Christian?
I am.
He called you his partner instead of his wife.
Yes.
Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
And why is that?
Because we are partners. I do the laundry sometimes. He does the laundry sometimes.
No way. A man should never, ever be a source of tenderness. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Culture War. In this exciting edition, Jesse again is going to be interviewing a couple, but this time the woman seems to be the one wearing the big pants. The man seems to be a beta. Trust me, very interesting video. Enjoy it. You've seen the intro. It shows that it's very, very interesting. So I want you to enjoy the video. But if you've not subscribed to the channel yet, what are you waiting for? Hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. And if you subscribed, just do us a favor to like and share, as this will help with the algorithm. So without further ado, let's dive in.
Welcome to the Father's State. I'm Jesse Lee Peterson. I believe that if we don't restore families, then America's over. Forget it. Nothing's going to work. I have with me Ken and Anne Marie Harbaugh, author of a new book on parenting, Here Be Dragons. Thank you guys for being here.
great to be here.
How long have you guys been married, Ken?
Boy, quiz question.
I'm not bailing him out. He needs to know.
We've been married
Right.
going on, married in 98, so going on 18 years.
I often wonder why men marry certain women. You know, you date around, and finally you meet that one woman, and you say, this is the one. What was it that made you decide this is the one?
I knew pretty quickly after meeting her that this was the girl I was going to marry, which is funny because her first impression upon meeting me was that she would never marry me.
Really?
But I won. I won. And I think I was drawn to her because of her independence. I always respected that about her. I always respected the fact that I wanted a partner who I felt challenged me.
Challenge you in what way?
Challenged me to become a better person, to be the best person I can be.
I noticed you call her your partner. She's not your wife.
Of course she's my wife.
Why do you say partner?
I say partner because in our parenting philosophy, we parent as a team.
When you call her your partner, you're not concerned that sounds like the homosexual marriage? Because they came up with that word partner in order to get normal society to accept them as a norm. And
Well,
so now I hear straight guy family.
Yeah,
using
well,
that term.
I'm straight.
Do
but
you know it sounds like you're talking about you may have a husband or something?
It might, but I actually have no issue with that. I was at an event just a couple nights ago with a very good gay friend of mine, and I fully support their right to love whoever they want. And if my use of the word partner grates on some people's ears, that's more on them than on me.
Are you a Christian?
Yes.
You are a Christian. And you accept homosexuality as a norm?
I do.
You do, okay. And what attracted you to Ken? What all the men in the world? And he said you didn't really think he was the one at first.
We were always good friends. From the very first moment we met, we went on trips together. I'll tell you what we did a lot was we argued. We would sit and talk issues and talk about meaningful, substantive things. You go out with a lot of boys and you talk about football.
What made it difficult? Why did it take a while to decide this was the one, though? He was the one.
Oh, I always had boyfriends.
Oh, you
He
have?
had to get in line.
Oh, I see. And of all the guys you were dating, he turned out to be the best choice for you?
Yeah, he made a bet. I'm not going to lie to you. He made a bet. Was it a lobster dinner?
Lobster dinner with
He,
your best
he bet
friend.
someone a lobster dinner that he could get me to go out on a date with him.
Really?
But he didn't tell me about the lobster dinner.
Right.
My college roommate had a really beautiful sweater. I love that sweater. And so I borrowed it without asking and spilled a drink on it. And then I put it back. And she found it later. She said, "Hey, Marie, did you borrow my sweater?" And I said, yes, I did. And she said, "That's not right." And I said, "You're right. How can I make it up to you?" And she said, "I need a ride home." And I said, "Sweetheart, I do not have a car." She said, "I know, but Ken does. I need a ride home." We were in college. And I said, "Well, get him to take you." And she said, "I asked him." And he said, "No, but he would take me home if you came too." And along the way, as you do on road trips, something about talking to people when you don't have to look at them, you confess, you go deep. And it was right about then that the lightning struck, and I thought, I've been walking side by side with this gem of a person somewhere in Tennessee, I think, between North Carolina and Kansas.
What a ride, huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Are you a Christian?
I am.
He called you his partner instead of his wife.
Yes,
Are you okay with that?
I'm fine with that.
And why is that?
Because we are partners. I do the laundry sometimes. He does the laundry sometimes. We are both parents, and we both have a household, and we both have jobs. I think we share those burdens.
And the fact that when you say partner, it implies that it's a homosexual couple. Does that bother you at all?
Homosexual couples do not bother me at all, and the label partner for anyone doesn't bother me at all, no.
Because you realize they came up with that, right? In order to make normal society, or attempt to make normal society accept them or their lifestyle as a norm. You do realize that, right?
I think this might be a point upon which we disagree, and I'm okay with that. I think that folks loving each other and using the words that they do to express that love is fine by me.
You believe that homosexual love is love?
I do.
You do?
I do.
And Ken, do you believe that homosexual sex is love?
I'm with my wife and partner, Anne Marie, on this. And at the risk of preaching to a preacher, I abide by the instruction to judge not, lest you be judged.
And so you never judge?
It depends on the situation. I'll judge ISIS. I've seen what they have done, but I'm not going to judge my gay friends for entering into a committed, loving relationship with their partners.
Is when you tell a person that they are wrong, are you judging them then?
I guess it depends on why you're telling them they're wrong. I think there are some moral absolutes. I think cruelty is universally wrong, and I have no problem not only telling ISIS that they're wrong for their cruelty, but joining the Navy and fighting cruelty and bullying where I find it.
Am I wrong for saying that homosexuality is wrong, and that it's something that you can overcome because it's due to a spiritual trauma? And so I would rather see them overcome it rather than go along with it being wrong and allowing them to suffer the rest of their lives with it, because they can overcome it. It's not something they're stuck in.
I think you're entitled to your own opinion,
Absolutely.
but if you're asking me, I do think you're wrong.
You do?
But I'd
So are
be
you
okay to talk to
judging
you
me by
about that.
saying that I'm wrong?
Yeah, I am.
So you do judge.
Sure, absolutely.
Define family, because your book is about family,
Mm-hmm.
right? Define family for me.
Family.
Well, we can define ours, I think, pretty well. It's this partnership and our 3 kids and our extended family. My parents are still together, Anne Marie's parents.
I've had friends that I think
And
have chosen
talk
family.
about last night. That was a real sense of family there.
We had a book event in our hometown, and folks knew that we'd written this book, and we were going to have coffee. Come on out and just see us. We're in town. I lost track of the dozens and dozens of people who are friends, but who were my family. We weren't living near my mom and dad then. We weren't living near his people. These are folks who who took my child when someone else was sick, who got me groceries, who I brought soup to. These are the fabric of your society that become family. And my heart weeps for folks who'd never experienced that. I think whose neighbors' doors are always shut. I think it's wonderful.
Am I hear you say that a family is a husband, wife, children, grandparents, and the neighborhood and the rest of the world?
In our case, that has been what we've been able to construct to serve as our bulwark against all the slings and arrows that might come our way, and to build that support network for our kids as well.
Anne-Marie, what is a man?
Oh dear, am I allowed to say those words on?
Yes.
I think someone with different biological parts maybe than I have.
Other than the biological part, what is a man?
I'm not very good at stereotyping. I know a lot of men. I know about the man I'm lucky enough to share a home with. He's
No, I just want to know what
tremendous.
is a man. For those who don't know, because that's a big issue in America today. Most people don't really seem to know what a man is anymore. What is a man?
Yeah, I haven't thought a lot about it. I have lived with a man for almost 20 years, and I could tell you lots about this particular man. I can tell you about my father and my grandfather and the things that were important to them. I can tell you about my brothers, but that's a lot of different men. I know he's a source of strength to me, but I know he's also a source of tenderness to me. I know that he can throw a football with my son, but he also will throw a football with my daughters. He is someone who's not afraid to kill spiders, but I tend to trap them and set them free. So I don't know if that makes either one of us any less of what you're looking for.
Is he the head of you?
No.
He's not the head of you?
He's not the boss of my applesauce. I think that it depends on the situation who's in charge. He's not the head of me, no.
You were raised by your father and mother together, right?
I was, yeah.
Was your father the head of your mother?
No, probably
No.
not.
Oh,
They were
okay.
pretty good equal partners. Depending on the situation, I think one might take the lead, and I think the same is true. The same is true for us. So.
And are you the head of your wife?
Sometimes.
And what do you mean by that when you say sometimes?
There are situations in parenting, as in life, that require leadership, and I can point to cases where Anne-Marie has led me and led the family, and I can
So
point
she
to...
is your head at times?
At times, sure,
Really?
sure. And sometimes I defer to her. Sometimes I am at a loss with how to deal with our preteen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you gotta guide me here. We got an 11-year-old daughter. I never had sisters, and she's my first little girl. And yeah, a lot of times Anne-Marie is in the driver's seat for those decisions.
And were you raised by your father and mother?
Yes.
And was your father the head of your mother?
I think similar to Anne-Marie's, it varied. My dad was an Air Force pilot. He was gone some of the time, serving his country, and there were moments where my mom had to be in charge because my dad was in the military, and then there were moments where my dad was in charge.
And so what is a man?
I think one of the things we risk losing at our peril is the notion of men as defenders, not as exclusive defenders. I've seen some phenomenally strong women, but I think men need to be prepared to fight for what's right. And I think we see evil triumphing the world over because not enough good men are standing up.
And what is a woman?
I know what this woman is, but I
Would you
have
know what a woman was if you didn't know what this one was? Or is?
Probably not. I don't, presume to define that for the other 3 billion out there. But I know this woman is my wife and partner and mother to my children, and occasional leader of our family, and an incredible force for good, not only as an example for our kids, but in the wider world. She has served on the front lines of our education crisis and dropout factories with juvenile delinquents in the Florida swamps. She's an inspiration to me.
So your mother wasn't an example of what a real woman was, or is?
Sure.
So,
Sure,
so you
different,
had
but-
seen a real woman prior to meeting your wife then, right?
I've seen many.
Yeah. Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying I would have a hard time shoehorning them all into one box. I've also worked alongside the most gentle, tender nurses in disaster zones who are also women. I mean, women is a pretty big category.
You mentioned the military often. In the military today, you now have men who think that they're women. They're having sex change, and you have drag queens and women who act like men, and it's a mess. Is that affecting the military for the good or the bad?
Well, I'm not sure where you're getting that it's a mess. Some of the most professional.
But is that affecting the military in a good way or a negative way?
I don't see it affecting the military.
Neither good nor negative?
No, I don't see it affecting the military. Some of the best fighters I've ever served with probably fall into the categories you've described.
Would you want to end up in a foxhole with a drag queen?
Absolutely.
With a drag queen?
Yes. If they know how to fire a gun, if they know how to hold my back. Have you ever been in a foxhole, Jesse?
No.
Do you have any clue what you're talking about?
I wouldn't want to end up in a foxhole with a drag queen.
Well, I don't think you would wind up in a foxhole.
Why not?
Because you don't have the ability, it seems, to serve alongside people who are capable instead of judging them by how they dress.
No, not only how they dress.
I
it's
judge
their
my
mental-
wingman
it's their
by how
mental
they are
state of
capable.
being. A person who don't recognize who they are, if they're a man, and they in their mind they think that they're a woman, that's a mental problem. And that would concern me when I look out of that hole and see Bin Laden coming after me.
If that
he
person
wasn't-
can fire a
if he
gun,
wasn't
if that
dead.
person can protect
And
you
I'm
from
about
the
to go
enemy, I
down
don't
in
care
this
what dress
foxhole
they're
and I'm
wearing.
looking down in the hole, I see a mental person there. I'm not going to feel quite safe.
I think you're imagining a scenario based on maybe a stereotype. My guess is you don't have a lot of close friends who are transgender.
I have
or-
no
or-
transgender.
Right.
So
So this is,
I have some friends who are homosexuals and I'm trying to overcome it.
Right. So I think this is probably a good starting point when I talk to people about misconceptions about transgender people.
You don't
One
think
of the
that's a
places
mental
I
problem?
like to start with is, do you actually know one, or are you just
I don't need to know one to know that it's wrong.